Have you ever, before falling asleep, asked yourself, among the thousands of events that have passed through your life, why do certain memories surface with such striking clarity, while so many others drift away as if they had never existed? In the video, Gentle Drifting Memories, How the Brain Chooses What to Keep, we will gently explore how the brain, after decades of living, quietly filters, stores, and lets go. Not a dry lecture, but a soft, science-based story to help you better understand memory, forgetting, and the things that deserve to stay in your mind, so that from there, you can treat yourself more gently. If you feel that the moments before sleep are worth cherishing, please subscribe to the Smart Sleep channel so we can journey together every night. When we've lived through 4, 5, 6 decades of life, something very quiet begins to happen in the brain that not everyone gets comforted about in time. That feeling of, why do I forget so much now? Why isn't my memory what it used to be? Is my brain getting weak? At night, in a quiet room, when the traffic outside has thinned and the light is just a soft golden halo on the wall, those questions turn into a small but persistent worry. And yet, if tonight we sit together for a moment and slow our breathing just a little, we'll see a much warmer truth. After 40, our brain is not only losing things, it is quietly becoming more refined in choosing what to keep and what to release. It's not a broken bookshelf. It's more like an experienced librarian beginning to tidy up the library of a lifetime, so that what remains is more meaningful, clearer, more worthy of the space that's left. Try to recall a day from long ago, your first pair of school shoes, the house number of a neighbor back in 1972, the color of the curtains in the apartment you once rented, the name of a colleague you haven't seen in 35 years. You may no longer remember those details clearly, but your brain has kept very carefully the feeling of your mother's hand holding yours as she walked you across the street, the smell of dinner on the night you got your college acceptance letter, the moment you first held your child or grandchild in your arms, or the tightness in your chest when you had to say goodbye to someone you loved. Those trivial memories, numbers, street names, passing faces that seem to have vanished are in fact simply being allowed by the brain to float away lightly to make room for experiences with deeper layers. That is not a system failure, that is design. Recent neuroscience offers us a very gentle image of memory after midlife. The brain is always balancing between two tasks, keeping what matters and protecting us from being flooded by detail. Every moment of every day, it receives millions of bits of information. Doorbells, license plates, stray comments, strangers' glances, words on packaging, noisy news. If all of it stayed intact, the mind would have no space for peace. So as you enter your 40 seconds, 50 seconds, 60 seconds, the brain, after decades of experience, begins to use a softer filter. It prioritizes what is tied to meaning, values, emotions. It allows details that no longer serve you to fade. Like an older gardener who no longer tries to care for every single plant, but chooses to keep the trees with deep roots, beautiful flowers, generous shade. Seen that way, this is not decline. It is maturity. The question is, have we ever looked at our memory with that respect? Or do we only see the blank spaces and call it losing it? Terrible, old and useless. Every time we scold ourselves for forgetting a name, a number, a date, we unknowingly ignore a beautiful story unfolding underneath. The brain is choosing not to hold on to what no longer nourishes us. It preserves energy for what deserves it, for the people we love, for major lessons, for decisions that changed our life's direction. for small moments that truly touched our hearts. That's why many older people tell the story of their life not by listing details, but by distilling a few images, a few milestones, a handful of lines, yet enough for the listener to grasp an entire life. Notice this: when you talk about your youth, or the hard years of raising children, or a marriage that has weathered highs and lows, you don't remember every bill, every address, every meal. You remember the essence. An evening when the two of you sat on the steps, calculating whether there was enough money for your child's tuition. The night of a big storm when the whole family slept together on one bed. One kind sentence from a doctor that year, a grateful look from someone you once helped. The brain chooses to keep the spine of the story, not all its packaging of details. That is the art of retelling your life in terms of what has meaning. Seen this way, the post-4-0 memory filter isn't a thief. It is a loyal editor who helps your life story become less cluttered, less noisy, less weighed down by unnecessary passages. Of course, there are changes in memory that need proper medical evaluation, and if forgetfulness starts to interfere with daily functioning, we should see a doctor. But alongside those clinical cases lies a very wide territory of healthy forgetting, a biological gift given to us. This gentle filter keeps us from carrying every scrap of daily life into our sleep each night. It allows the aging mind to grow older in a lighter, softer way. And here, there is a very important question. Also, a small gift for tonight. If the brain is selecting based on what we feed it each day, then in the end, what kind of memories are we nourishing it with? Imagine that each night before sleep, your brain is like someone tidying a desk. On that desk lie the things that happened today. A long call with an old friend, a piece of angry news on TV, your grandchild's eyes as they ran to greet you at the door, some harsh comments online, a peaceful feeling while watering plants on the porch, a cutting remark from someone, a moment when a stranger yielded the way for you in traffic. The person tidying cannot keep everything. So what goes into the drawer? What gets swept into the soft trash bin of forgetting? Part of the answer is biological. What repeats? What stirs strong emotion? What aligns with your deep beliefs? These get priority. But the quieter part is this. What do you allow to sit on that desk for too long? If every day you tether yourself tightly to negative news, to stories of others' faults, to your own minor mistakes, to endless unresolved arguments, your brain will learn, these are important to you. It'll try to keep them, and that soft filter is forced to reserve space for heavy things. On the other hand, if each night, before stepping into sleep, you give yourself a few slow breaths and look back on the day to gently choose one or two kind moments, no matter how small. Sunlight on the windowsill, your loved one's voice on the phone, your own patience in a difficult moment, then you're sending a different signal to the brain. This is worth keeping. Repeated long enough, the refined post-4-0 filter starts prioritizing more nourishing memories instead of draining ones. At a certain age, we no longer need more, we need right. We don't need to remember everything just to prove we're still sharp. We need to remember what helps us live more kindly, peacefully, and clearly. The brain understands this too. It becomes less eager to engrave new phone numbers, new corporate logos, new slogans, but very alert to what touches the values cultivated over decades. Honesty, kindness, family, faith, responsibility, gratitude. If you've spent a lifetime living for others, for your family, for decent work, your memory filter will increasingly revolve around those things. Rumors, criticism, petty drama will drift away more easily. And that is a kind of freedom, not a failure. But there's something crucial. This filter is gentle, not fully automatic. It needs to be guided, softly. If every night we lie down with self-accusing lines, "I'm old and useless. My mind is awful. Back then I failed. I don't deserve anything." Those sentences, repeated long enough, become core memories. The brain, ever faithful, stores them as truth. That's why a subtle but deep step of self-development after 40, 50, 60 is not to force fake positive thinking, but to begin speaking to the brain with kinder, more honest sentences. "I've gone through so much and I'm still learning. I have the right to forget some things that no longer help me. I will keep the moments that make me a better person, not the ones that only hurt me." If tonight, before you close your eyes, you try one tiny thing, not forcing yourself to recall everything, but simply choosing one gentle memory from today, a look, a thank you, a moment you held back your anger, or simply the fact that you are here, still breathing, still listening to this story, and whisper to yourself, "This is worth keeping." Then you are collaborating with your brain's own soft filter. You are not fighting age. You are walking with the wisdom that age gives. You are not trying to salvage every shard of the past. You are choosing to keep the underground streams that nourish you. So tomorrow, if you happen to forget an actor's name, a brand, a password you can write down somewhere, try smiling a little. Maybe your brain is saying, "We have more important things to use this space for." At the same time, be more careful about what you decide is important. Every time you give too much energy to something unworthy, remember, you are sending a storage request into a vault that is incredibly precious. Each night, that vault asks you a very small, very gentle question. Today, what do you want me to keep about you? That you are someone who lives in regret, anger, blame, or someone who, even when tired, still chooses to see at least one thing worthy of gratitude. The brain's gentle filter after 40 plus is therefore not just a biological phenomenon that lets us breathe a sigh of relief that we're not broken. It's a quiet invitation to live more selectively, to choose what we let into our mind, choose the stories we repeat, choose which memories we allow to stay. Each of us, at 45, 60, 80, can become the kind, steadfast editor of our own life story, letting drift away the things that make us shrink, keeping the things that help us stand upright, soften our heart, and be a little clearer each morning. And when we treat our memory that kindly, our nights change too. Sleep is no longer just a shelter for worries, but a place where the brain continues its work as an old librarian, sorting, distilling, and wrapping the worthy memories like small gifts for the us of tomorrow. Have you noticed that just as we finish talking about the mind's gentle filter, there is still another quiet character who hasn't stepped into the light? If there were someone in the brain who stays up later than we do, wandering through the shelves of a long day's memories, deciding what is kept and what is released, who would that be? This figure has a name that sounds distant, but is intimately tied to every night's sleep. The hippocampus. You don't need to remember its exact anatomical position or the layers of its cells. Just picture the hippocampus as a devoted librarian who stays up after everyone else. When the house is dimmed and only a soft hallway light is on, when you lie down, blanket pulled up to your chest, breath beginning to slow. This is when that librarian starts the most important shift of the day. For hours while you were awake, the brain collected countless fragments, the sound of the radio in the car, the cashier's face, a worrying news headline, your grandchild's eyes, dinner, a phone call that warmed you, a sentence that hurt you, all of it stacks up temporarily in the waiting room of short-term memory. If no one sorted it, that room would overflow until there was no space left for anything new. And so, as you drift into sleep, the hippocampus quietly opens the door and steps in. For those who have lived 45, 60, 80 years, this librarian's role becomes even more delicate. The hippocampus cannot keep everything, so it must choose, and it chooses based on 3 very quiet questions. What is repeated? What touches real emotion? What connects to the values you've carried through decades? Anything that meets these is stamped with a special seal and stored in deeper, long-term memory. Anything that doesn't is allowed to fade. This may sound mechanical, but it is in fact profoundly humane. It protects us from drowning in useless detail, while preserving the threads that form each person's life story. Science calls this process memory consolidation, which happens powerfully during sleep, especially deep sleep. But if we put the technical terms aside, we can see it as a nightly ritual in the library of your life. Imagine standing back and watching. Today's books are being shelved. Those that carry the scent of love, gratitude, effort, meaningful learning will be placed on easy-to-reach shelves. The books, full only of unnecessary noise, pages of recycled worries that led to no action, may be left out to be gone by morning. What few people tell us is this: the hippocampus is especially sensitive to what we repeat in words and thoughts. Every sentence you say to yourself is not just sound that disappears. If repeated often enough, it becomes data the librarian notes. This matters to the owner. At night, it hunts along those traces and weighs. Should I stamp this? Should I keep it longer? So if, over many years, each time you make a small mistake you murmur, "I'm useless, I'm a burden, I have no value anymore," those phrases repeated on a strong emotional background are easily treated by the unconscious librarian as truths to be stored. They sink deeper, root harder, and gradually shape how you see yourself. Conversely, if each night before sleep you cultivate a small habit, acknowledging your fatigue, your difficulties, but also whispering something fairer to yourself, like, "Today I tried, even if it wasn't perfect. I'm still learning, even at this age. I did this kind thing." Those sentences also get logged by the hippocampus. It sees them recurring, sees them tied to a gentle warmth in your chest, to a deeper value, respecting your own life, and slowly it seals them too. So they become a more stable part of your self-picture. In the dark quiet of sleep, the librarian walks from desk to desk, gathering the loose notes you've left. A note saying, "I'm too old." One saying, "I'm useless." One saying, "Nobody needs me." Beside them are other slips, smaller, easier to overlook. "Today, my grandchild's smile was so bright when they saw me. Today, I listened to someone more patiently. Today, I bothered to walk a few more steps. Today, I am still capable of loving someone." For many years, if we only write and repeat the negative notes, the hippocampus will faithfully shelve them at eye level. For many years, if we persist in adding gentle notes, the librarian will quietly file those away too, so that one day, when we look back, we suddenly realize our memory of ourselves is not only made of failures and disappointments. In the body of a 60 or 80-year-old, the hippocampus may no longer be as quick or spacious as at 20. Some neurons decline, some old pathways get bumpier, but its core principle remains. It looks for meaning, true feeling, repeated patterns. If you spend too many hours each day on news that squeezes your heart but you cannot change, on arguments that bring no understanding, on nagging complaints about yourself or your family, the hippocampus will conclude. The owner considers this important. It doesn't know that sometimes this is just habit, just something you haven't turned off. It only sees frequency and emotion and does its job, consolidates. So the question, are the things I keep repeating to myself really what I want carved into my life? Is not some distant philosophical musing. It is a very practical neural principle. At any age, especially after 45, every sentence we replay before sleep, every story we let loop in our mind, is a request form sent to the librarian. Please keep this for me. If every night we review only shortcomings, fears, worst-case scenarios, we are unknowingly asking the hippocampus to engrave those patterns. If every night we give a few brief moments to recognizing one thing we're grateful for, one thing we learned, one thing we did a little better than yesterday, we are gently signaling to the librarian, this is worth keeping too. This is not cheap, positive self-hypnosis. The hippocampus is not fooled by hollow lines you don't believe. It's moved only when words are paired with genuine feeling and repeated long enough. So the exercise for adults is not to force a smile while in pain, but to search for truthful, kind facts that exist alongside the pain, and repeat those sincerely. For example, I'm tired, but I've weathered storms bigger than this. I regret things, but I've loved and tried more than I give myself credit for. I'm not perfect, but I am still someone somebody needs. Every time you say that, you give the hippocampus a new piece of data that is both realistic and more compassionate. Picture a night in the near future, maybe in a small house in the Midwest, a quiet apartment in California, a snow-covered town in New England. You lie down, a warm bedside lamp casting soft light, the hum of the AC low, trees, or an empty street outside. Inside you, as always, are the thoughts about the day. You can let your mind run down the familiar paths of regret, irritation, self-criticism, or you can slow your breath, acknowledge those feelings, and then add one tiny sentence. No matter what, today I still showed up for my own life. The hippocampus hears that. It won't turn you into a different person overnight, but if every night there is such a sentence, month after month, year after year, the librarian will start shelving the books about you on a different shelf, the shelf of self-respect. For many people, between 45 and 90, memory is not just about remembering or forgetting. It is about the question, how have I lived? The hippocampus, through its quiet, nightly work, helps condense the answer into main strands of memory. It does not speak for you, but it listens to what you repeat. If you only tell it about mistakes, shame, the feeling of I'm too late for everything, it will accept that as the summary. If you start weaving in other stories, how you cared for someone, kept a promise, got up after surgery, stayed curious, and learned something new at 70, 80, it will accept that too. And in time, when someone asks about your life, you'll notice that you spontaneously remember both sides, the things that hurt and the things that let you feel at peace. That is when the librarian has done a good job of balancing. In the end, the small lesson the late working librarian offers us isn't loud. Be kinder to what you repeat in your mind. None of us can fully control what memories flicker up, nor should we turn night into a harsh censorship session. All we need is this awareness before sleep. What am I whispering to myself now? Because in the quiet dark of the brain, someone is listening, sorting, stamping, and if we are gentle enough, honest enough, patient enough, those stamps will slowly record a version of our life that is more dignified, more peaceful. When that quiet librarian closes another day, one more question softly appears. Are the memories being stored the same as the moments that happened? Or have they been rearranged, recolored, trimmed, embellished by the mind in its own way? If you're lying still now, back resting on a familiar pillow, bedside lamp casting a soft glow on the wall, breath slowing after a long day, allow yourself to let go of the idea that the brain is a perfectly faithful camera. In truth, it resembles a storyteller far more than a recorder. Neuroscience, after decades of research, has quietly reached a conclusion that runs against our intuition. Memory is not raw footage. It is a story re-edited each time we recall it. This doesn't mean everything is wrong or made up. It means that every time a memory plays, the brain retrieves old traces while consulting your current emotions, current beliefs, current context, then stitches them together into a version that feels coherent to who you are now. Gently put, memory is a living fragment, not a fossil. You may have seen this yourself at family meals. When everyone reminisces about the old days, the same event, a rushed move, a storm, getting lost, a lunar new year with no money is told as slightly different stories. One person remembers themselves as the main victim, another as the one who carried the load, another remembers a tiny detail, the smell of soup, the radio, the laughter. No one is deliberately lying, but each brain chose a different focal point, and over time, that version was repeated, tweaked, highlighted in some parts, faded in others, until it became the official version for that person. The fascinating and sobering thing is that this chosen version quietly steers how we feel about ourselves. For many people at 45, 60, or 80, there are nights when, as everything quiets down, certain old episodes resurface. A mistake at work, an unfortunate financial decision, a broken marriage, not making it in time to see someone, a sentence you regret. If for decades, each recall uses only one camera angle, I was stupid, I was selfish, I ruined everything, the brain will helpfully optimize the story in that direction. Next time, it will pull up details that confirm that verdict and dim those that contradict it. The times you loved, took responsibility, did your best within your limits. That's how memory's natural bias for consistency works. It prefers a coherent story, even when that story is unfair to you. Science calls this reconstructive memory. Each act of remembering is not just retrieving, but rebuilding. When we recall, networks for emotion, belief, imagery, language activate together. If right now you're sad, self-blaming, feeling like a failure in old age, the memories pulled up will be tinted accordingly. It's like watching an old film through a smoky lens. Dark scenes become sharper. Bright scenes are dulled. One day, you may truly believe your life is only a chain of mistakes, even if, from the outside, others see something entirely different. A lifetime of hard work, raising children, caring for grandchildren, surviving illness, keeping the family from breaking further, standing up again after loss. In the gentleness of the night, this might be the best time to say something rarely said clearly to those who've passed midlife. You have the right and the capacity to edit the way you tell the story of your life, without denying the truth. Editing here does not mean erasing wrongdoing, sugarcoating, pretending no one ever got hurt. It means widening the frame, restoring missing details. placing events back into the reality of who you were, when, and how they happened. It's like adjusting the light on an old photograph. You don't erase wrinkles or scratches. You just let the whole face be seen, not only the shadow. Let's try a gentle example. Say you've carried for decades the memory, "I was a bad mother because I wasn't home much." Repeated often enough, this becomes a label over your entire memory of motherhood. Every recall automatically selects scenes that support it. Times you snapped from exhaustion, evenings you worked late, long business trips. But if one night, with your breath slowing, you ask yourself with a different tone, "Back then, did I do my best with what I had? Besides being away, what did I do to provide for my child? Were there moments when my child leaned on me with trust?" You are requesting your brain to fetch more data. And now, the hippocampus, emotional circuits, language centers will blend in other frames. You carrying your child to the hospital, staying up through fevers, packing lunches, working extra hours to pay tuition. The story is still the same story, but no longer one note. This has a biological basis. Each time we remember, the memory becomes briefly soft, entering a flexible state called reconsolidation. In that window, if we add a perspective that is more accurate, more just, the memory that gets stored again can include that addition. Over time, instead of only "I was terrible," it becomes "I had limitations, and I also loved and tried in the ways I knew then." This adjustment does not trick the nervous system. It brings the memory map closer to the full truth and treats you with more humanity. Similarly, many older people grip tightly to a memory of one wrong decision: selling a house too early, choosing the wrong partner, trusting the wrong friend, missing a last goodbye, if told hundreds of times with the script "if only." This weaves deeply into the sense that you don't deserve happiness or forgiveness. But if, when remembering, you add one small question, "That person I was then," with the information and fears they had, were they trying to do their best? You are allowing the brain to connect that memory with compassion for your past self. You are not erasing consequences or trivializing pain, but you are refusing to let your entire being be defined by that one moment. The slow rhythm of the night is the ideal environment for this kind of gentle editing. No blaring horns, not too many screens, only the sound of a fan, the hum of the air conditioner, or the wind outside the window. In that space, we can sit with ourselves like with an old friend. Take out each important story and softly ask, "Am I retelling this in a way that's fair to me? Am I cutting out all the details that show I was once brave, once kind, once learned something from it? If I were telling this story to someone I love, would I use this same tone? Or would I be gentler, deeper?" And if the answer is no, I would tell it much more kindly to someone else. Then it's time to apply that same standard to ourselves. This is a very subtle but powerful shift that many people only realize very late. Sometimes, near the end of life, we cannot go back and fix the past, but we can stop torturing ourselves with the harshest possible version of that story. We can choose to tell a truer, wider version, one that still acknowledges responsibility, but also recognizes the context, the effort, the love, the corrections made afterward. And the beautiful thing is, when the inner story changes, how we feel about ourselves changes, and our behavior in the present softens. Someone who believes their whole life has been useless will treat their health, their relationships, their tomorrow as something not worth preserving. Someone who begins to see that their life, despite mistakes, is the story of a person who has stood up many times, will cherish tonight's sleep more, cherish tomorrow's breakfast more, and be more willing to care for their own body. For the years after 45, 60, 70, consciously editing the story of one's life is not some spiritual luxury. It's part of mental hygiene, like cleaning out an old drawer. Some things are kept because they remind us of love, gratitude, resilience. Some things can be folded, thanked, and allowed to go. Each night before sleep, you can try a very simple ritual. Choose one old story that usually brings you pain, and add one forgotten detail back into it, so long as it is true. Remember the person who was there for you then. Ask yourself to place a hand on your chest and say, "Back then, I did the best I knew how." No drama, no grand declarations, just one small adjustment, but if repeated across many nights, it will weave a new path into your memory map. And as your breath slows, you can ask yourself, if memory is an edited story, which version do I want to leave in my mind before I fall asleep? The version where you are only the one who did wrong or was hurt, never good enough? Or the version where you are a whole human being, sometimes weak, sometimes stumbling, but also loving, giving, standing back up, and learning something valuable from each fall? No one but you can decide that narrative tone. The brain will be faithful to the draft you repeat the most. Tonight, when you turn off the light, the story of your life will not turn into a fairy tale just because you listened to a video. But perhaps one tiny detail has shifted. You understand that memory is not a camera, so you no longer have to sentence yourself to life imprisonment under the cruelest edit. You know that each time you remember, you have a chance to add in an honest glimmer of light, a bit of compassion, a wider frame, and from tomorrow on, when the hippocampus librarian again stays up late sorting pieces of your day, it will have in hand some new, gentler, more just versions to stamp. As for you, with your breath steadying, you can allow yourself a small smile. You cannot change what happened, but you are learning to speak more truthfully, more kindly, about the person who went through it all. If memory is an edited story, and the hippocampus is the late shift librarian sorting the day, then one very important piece is still missing. Where do these stories truly take root? What happens to memory when we surrender ourselves to the darkness of night? When you lie down, the room gradually grows quiet. The lights go out one by one, leaving only a soft glow in a corner or through the crack of a door. This is not just the body resting, it is the moment the brain prepares to enter a quiet but delicate task. Choosing which experiences from today will be moved from temporary quarters into their long-term home. And here is the interesting part. Most of this crucial work does not happen while you are half awake scrolling through more news, nor while you are dozing in and out worrying about bills or health. It needs a different space. Deep, continuous sleep. Dark enough, safe enough, like rich soil for memory seeds to root. Modern neuroscience has observed that during deep sleep, the brain's electrical activity shows slow, regular waves, like the sea drawing back its noisy breakers to make room for a hidden tide. In these slow rhythms, the hippocampus and the cortex talk to each other. Important patterns of information are replayed in clusters, like packets of data, then gradually etched into more stable networks. What you've learned, what you've thought through carefully, the moments that touched you deeply. These have a chance to move from the temporary house of short-term memory to the main house of long-term memory. Without this stage, many things that felt memorized by day will quickly fade. But darkness here is not only about switching off the lights, it is a state, the body knowing it is safe, circadian rhythms not being disturbed, the mind not being stretched taut by continuous noise and light. When you sleep with the TV blaring all night, the phone glowing by your pillow, alerts pinging, sensational news, sudden commercials cutting in, it's like asking a gardener to plant in soil that is constantly being churned up. Seeds of memory that want to root deeply need some stillness. A good darkness, not the darkness of panic, but the darkness of permission to let go. For those between 45 and 90, where memory is already crowded with many decades, deep sleep becomes all the more precious, not only because it restores the body, but because it is when the brain reorganizes the archive, clears noisy data, and keeps the main veins. Sadly, many at this age treat sleep as optional. I'm old, sleeping less is normal. Every night I just lie there thinking about everything until I pass out from exhaustion. I just doze off in the chair. That's enough. Meanwhile, the brain, especially the memory structures, is quietly hoping to be given at least this condition. A few solid hours that aren't shredded by anxiety and screens. There is an important detail that's rarely stated clearly enough. When we drift off in a state of worry, irritation, vigilance, the brain's alarm systems have not fully shut down. Regions tied to fear, defense, stress continue humming in the background. And when the hippocampus and cortex begin deciding what will be consolidated, traces colored by alertness, threat, insecurity tend to be prioritized. From an evolutionary survival view, this makes sense. The ancient brain always wants to retain what might protect us from trouble. But in modern life, this leads to a weary loop. Going to sleep in fear, waking up heavy, and over time, a growing archive of evidence that the world is dangerous. I am powerless. Everything is something to fear. If each night, before closing your eyes, you curl up inside worst-case scenarios, replay arguments, frightening news, self-blame, you are unknowingly placing a stack of red flag files on the librarian's desk marked urgent. And when deep sleep comes, if it comes, the memory systems see those red files standing out. They cannot tell what you only happen to read from what truly belongs to your life story. Which image is just from a screen and which is a core value, they only know. What is repeated with strong emotion is what deserves to be kept. Conversely, if before sleep you send your brain a different signal, a peaceful image, a grateful memory, a kind thought about yourself or someone else, you are quietly adding a sheet of another color into the day's stack. Softer, lighter, not to deny real difficulties, but to remind the nervous system that your life is not solely a chain of threats. Then, when deep sleep comes, among the red files that are still there, still reviewed, at least a few safe, warm, loving memories will also be moved into long-term storage. Repeated over many nights, the balance within your memory archive shifts a little, quietly, without drama, but steadily. Picture it simply like this. Your brain is a wide garden, deep sleep is the night rain, and the thoughts and images before sleep are the seeds you scatter on the soil just before lights out. If each night you only sow seeds of worry, fear, self-blame, anger, the night rain will still do its job. Water them all. The next morning, you find a few more thorns inside. If each night, alongside acknowledging what worries you, you also gently drop in one or two other seeds, a small gratitude, a peaceful image, a sentence acknowledging your own effort, then the night rain will water those too. After weeks and months, that garden will look different, not because you banned lightning, but because you didn't only plant thorns. Between 45 and 90, Many people say their sleep has become light, easily broken, hard to reach the depth of before. There are real biological reasons. Changes in circadian rhythms, hormones, chronic conditions, medications, noise. But among the things we can't control, there are small things that are ours to choose. We can turn off screens a bit earlier, reduce the bright blue light just before sleep. We can refrain from dragging fierce debates, sensational political headlines, frightening numbers into the last 5 minutes of the day. We can choose a slow piece of music, a gentle voice, a soothing scent, a simple nightly habit so the brain can recognize, this is the ritual of entering the safe zone. Science does not treat these as superstition. They are ways we deliberately create a safe context for the nervous system. When the body's and brain's sensors receive enough signals of safety, they gradually dial down the alarm mode, allowing deep sleep phases to appear more often, last longer. And in those phases, your memory, especially positive memories, skills you want to preserve, information you want to retain, has a better chance to take firm root. Think back to the rare nights you truly slept well. Not because all problems vanished, but because in that moment just before drifting off, you could feel at least one thing, that you were protected, or that you had done enough for the day. Maybe it was a night after hugging your grandchild, a night after a long call with a distant child, a night you just completed something you never thought you could, or a night simply because you allowed yourself to switch off unnecessary noise. The next morning, in the same world, with the same annoyances, something inside felt slightly different. Fewer spikes, more space. That is the trace of a night where memories were filtered, not just piled on. And then a gentle question appears for you to carry along with your slowing breath. Knowing that deep sleep is when memories take root, do you really want to keep stepping into the dark, clutching only the worst images of your day? Or could you set down at least one peaceful image as a gift to your brain? That image doesn't need to be grand. It could be the face of someone you love, a small moment when you were brave, a patch of sky you found beautiful, the feeling of warm water on your hands while washing dishes, the feel of a clean blanket on your bed, or simply the quiet truth: I lived this day as fully as I could. Deep sleep is not something we can command into existence, but it is something we can invite by choosing to go gentler on ourselves in the last hour of the day, choosing what we let into our eyes and ears, choosing the words we whisper to ourselves, not to escape reality, but to give memory and emotion a chance to work on smoother ground. And very likely, from such nights, another version of you will slowly grow. Not a person without anxiety or bad memories, but a person who knows how not to make them the only seeds watered each night. Tonight, as you're about to turn off the light, try one small thing. Before pulling up the blanket, before closing your eyes, choose one peaceful image just for yourself. You don't need to tell anyone. Just place it on the desk of the librarian in your brain. This is something you'd like to have a chance to stay. Then let the darkness do the rest. If memory needs darkness to take root, give it a gentle darkness. And in that darkness, perhaps you'll also learn to be kinder with what you choose to carry into tomorrow. If deep sleep is the dark soil where memories take root, then a natural question arises. Among the countless seeds that fall each day, which ones get watered more carefully? What makes one memory stay so clear that decades later it still feels like yesterday? The gentle but straightforward answer is, emotions are the priority stamps. The human brain, from when we are very young until our hair turns white, does not store events like a computer. It stores what has truly touched us. Moments that tighten the chest, choke the throat, or on the other hand, warm the heart, soften the eyes, are given an invisible stamp. Notice, important, keep. When night falls, as the hippocampus and cortex rearrange the story of the day, those stamped items stand out and are more likely to be transferred into long-term storage than cold, indifferent details no one cared about. This is not only true for the big storms of life, accidents, separations, losses. It is also true for tiny moments with a high emotional charge. A doctor saying you're okay, your grandchild's hug after a day you felt useless, someone telling you thank you for all those years, or an utterly ordinary second when the afternoon light falls on the sleeping face of your partner in a way that makes your heart ache with tenderness. Our brains, especially when we've lived long, are less impressed by surface noise and more attuned to the deep vibrations underneath. Biologically, there is a small area deep in the brain called the amygdala. You don't need the name, only to know it is a sentinel and tagging station for emotion. When something happens that carries strong feeling, fear, shame, anger or joy, gratitude, relief, this station lights up, like a manager stamping a file. This means something to the owner. Later, during sleep and memory consolidation, those stamped files are reviewed first. That is why some seemingly small things others forget, we can't let go of, and also why very faint tendernesses can sustain us through long, hard years. But here is a detail that leaves many adults exhausted without knowing why. The brain has a natural tendency to prioritize negative emotions over positive ones, not because it's cruel, but because in evolutionary history, remembering threats kept our ancestors alive. Missing a snake bite was far more dangerous than missing a beautiful sunset. So, an insult, a betrayal, a bad piece of news, a cold face tends to cling longer in memory than 10 moments of praise or kindness. After 50, 60, 70, having lived through so many losses, medical scares, financial swings, family worries, it's no surprise that many people, when they lie down, are flooded by memories with red stamps. Yet science also offers a hopeful note that suits this quiet evening. Those priority stamps are not reserved only for wounds. They can be stamped onto gratitude, gentleness, small proof that your life is not only mistakes. The emotional system does not sort good or bad by morality. It responds to depth. If we consciously allow ourselves to really feel the warm, kind, forgiving moments, they too get tagged. The problem is, many of us have learned to trivialize the soft parts, to treat them as normal, and only let ourselves burn bright emotionally when we are hurting, angry, ashamed, disappointed. The result, over time, the archive in the brain is packed with painful files. Take a look at any random day in your life. Say today there were 3 unpleasant things. Medical results not as good as you'd hoped. A careless comment from a loved one. A bill higher than expected. But there were also several not so small things. If you'd paused, many results were still within normal range. That loved one later made you tea without saying a word. The weather was gentler than forecast. A child or grandchild sent a photo. You walked a little farther. You caught yourself still able to laugh at an old story. The brain will automatically stamp priority on the 3 sharp negatives. They are strong, jarring, noticeable. The softer things, if you don't give them attention, pass by like seeds that never touch soil. Here, training the brain to notice more moments of gratitude is not forcing it to go against nature, but retraining your habit of attention. Each night, before sleep, if you ask, "What am I grateful for today?" even if very small, and truly pause for a few beats to feel it, you are actively stamping priority on those moments. You turn them from background blur into landmarks on your emotional map. And tomorrow night, when you ask again, your nervous system will find positive material faster because it has learned, the owner cares about this. At an older age, you might think, my life has gone too far. So many bad things have piled up. What difference can a few seconds of gratitude make? The calm answer is, it does make a difference. Not because those seconds erase cancer, loss, divorce, betrayal, or aging, but because they slowly tilt the scales. The brain doesn't demand fake cheerfulness. It only needs a new signal that alongside the painful fields of memory, there are other anchors. You don't have to tell your life as a string of miracles, but if you can honestly record, I'm tired, I hurt, but I have these things, then your emotional system will stamp priority on both, the pain and the resilience. Imagine each memory as an envelope. Those tied to strong emotions get a strip of red tape and are easy to grab. If you only let yourself feel deeply when someone hurts you, when you read bad news, when you blame yourself, then almost all the priority envelopes are dark. If you allow yourself to be genuinely moved by a hand squeeze, something someone did for you, a simple meal that was enough, a morning you woke still breathing, with eyes to read and ears to hear, then those envelopes also get taped. Over the years, when the brain's librarian reaches back, there won't be just one color. There is a phenomenon in older adults that researchers call the positivity effect. Many people, after many storms, naturally begin to attend more to positive things, not because their life is lighter, but because consciously or unconsciously, they start prioritizing what keeps them going over what drags them down. You can let yourself drift under the pull of negativity forever, or even at 70, 80. You can join those who quietly turn the lens, not denying the dark, but refusing to worship it. The method is very simple and needs no audience. Each night, when things are mostly quiet, before your mind runs into its usual worry list, pause and ask yourself 3 small questions, as if assigning tasks to your memory librarian. Today, was there any moment, however brief, that softened my heart? Today, was there anything, however ordinary, that I would miss if it were gone? Today, was there anything about myself that I can respect instead of criticize? You don't need perfect answers, just one image, one feeling. It could be your morning coffee, the way you answered a difficult call, gently, a nurse's eyes, the fact you held back from saying something hurtful, a neighbor's laughter, a hand resting on yours in a waiting room. Once these moments are named, your amygdala has received the message. This is important too. And the stamp goes on. Over time, this changes the substance of what is most strongly kept. You will still remember shocks and losses that's inevitable, but alongside them, your memory will also hold, more clearly, the times you were supported, the times you were stronger than you thought. On restless nights, when envelopes of memory are being shuffled, your hand, or rather, your mind, will have more chances to touch a warm envelope, not only cold ones. Finally, the question, what am I prioritizing each night, is not to make you judge yourself yet again. It's more like a gentle reminder. Tonight, before sleep, which memory do I want to stamp? The hurtful words, or the moment I chose not to return the hurt? The bill, or the fact that somehow I'm still standing after so many unstable years? The fear of tomorrow, or a small image that proves I am not entirely alone? Nighttime is when we are least guarded with ourselves. It is also when negative stamped memories easily take over all the space. But that same night, with its slower breath and bedside lamp, gives us a quiet chance to rearrange some stamps. No one can control the whole system, but anyone at any age can nudge their own hand. Choose at least one warm thing to keep safe, and tomorrow, upon waking, amid all that hasn't changed, your heart may feel different by a millimeter, but it is precisely those millimeters, accumulated over years, that decide the face your memories will show you on the nights to come. Once emotional stamps have been placed on memories, another quiet shift unfolds over time. The brain grows less curious about every trivial thing, but more demanding and refined about what it allows to stay. So after 45, is the brain truly weakening, or is it changing careers? As you lie here, perhaps in a quiet suburban house, a small apartment in the city, or a home that's been with you for decades, try viewing your brain's journey as the life of a person. In your 20s, it's like an intern in a vast library, wanting to record everything, finding all information exciting, processing fast, recalling details with ease. Moving into midlife and older age, the brain gradually steps away from data entry work and becomes a distiller, like a master who has read too much, now only interested in the questions. Of all this, what is truly worth keeping, worth living by, worth passing on? Biologically, it's true that after 45, some capacities, processing speed, short-term memory, multitasking can decline. Neural connections don't fire as quickly as in youth, but alongside that, another form of intelligence grows. Crystallized wisdom, pattern recognition, intuition, built on experience, judgment about people, the ability to sense what matters and what is just noise. Instead of racing to grab everything, the brain learns to filter, compress, extract. If in youth you read every word, then now you can read the meaning. You see this in yourself more than you think. Loud news cycles, fleeting trends, online arguments, constantly shifting slogans no longer sweep you up so easily. Not because you're slow, but because your brain has seen the patterns behind them. Fear surges, then fades. Hype rises, then cools. Promises shift. In contrast, a sincere sentence, a small responsible act, someone quietly keeping their word, these move you more. That is the sign of a brain that has moved from collecting to distilling. It doesn't need 100 slogans. It's looking for 1-2 things that can actually be lived, that endure. In this soft nighttime voice, maybe it's time to say this clearly, to ease a misunderstanding that keeps many people awake. The feeling I can't keep up, I don't remember like before, is often labeled as decline, as failure, but a large part of it, within a normal life, is actually the brain's intelligent saving strategy. It doesn't waste storage on details that don't affect long-term values or safety. It wants to focus remaining energy on preserving identity, core relationships, crucial skills, and lessons. It silently asks you, how much time and energy do we have? What do we truly want to spend them on? If you notice, your conversations have changed too. At 20, you might argue for hours about who is right, which side wins. At 50, 60, 70, you tend to skip pointless disputes and instead ask, will this help me live more kindly? What does this person in front of me really need? What is the cost of holding on to this anger? That is your brain distilling. It is less attracted to dazzling stimulation, more drawn to clarity. This lines up with research. In the second half of life, people tend to prioritize meaningful experiences over endless novelty. quality relationships over expanding networks, inner peace over proving themselves superior. In the brain, networks related to social judgment, ethics, meaning are recruited more. In other words, the brain doesn't just grow old, it changes life strategy. But in real life, surrounded by a culture that worships youth and speed, many people misread this shift as failure. Not remembering new singers' names, not caring about new apps, feeling tired of constant updates. These are completely normal, yet easily misinterpreted as outdated, useless. My brain is broken, and from there grows a fear that seeps into every night. Fading away, instead of recognizing my brain is quitting garbage collection to preserve the essence of life. As you hear these words in the dark, try allowing yourself another angle. If this is the distilling phase, could it be that your lack of interest in noise is actually a sign you're closer to what's essential? Could your weariness with being pulled into too many things simply be your body and brain saying, choose less, go deeper? Must you keep up with every movement of the world? Or are you allowed to reserve your remaining memory and mind for deeply understanding what you truly believe? In the language of night, we can picture the middle-aged and older brain as a long-time winemaker. When young, they were eager to harvest, experiment, make all kinds of flavors. Later on, they waste less fruit, stop changing recipes constantly. They know which soil suits which grape, which season to harvest, which barrel to age longer. Their work is quiet, but each drop of wine is the result of patient selection. Your brain is like that too. It no longer needs input 24/7. It needs quiet to mature what matters. So what does this mean in daily life for you, the one listening now, who has passed milestones younger people can't yet imagine? It means this: the urge to slow down, to narrow your circle, to want fewer but deeper things. To stay close to those who bring you peace is not a sign of deterioration, but of matured wisdom, not wanting to join every argument, not diving into every competition, not feeling the need to prove yourself to strangers on a screen that is your brain responding healthily to finite time and energy. It is saying, I know what's not worth it anymore. From a self-development perspective, this is a gift that, if unnamed, is easily wasted. If you resist it, forcing yourself to be as loud as at 20, stuffing your mind with as much as if you hadn't lived yet, you will only breed another kind of exhaustion, the exhaustion of not respecting your own season. But if you cooperate with your distilling brain, you can use this slowing as a chance to ask, of all I once thought important, what truly matters now? What do I want to remember about myself at the end of the day, the year, the life? Perhaps the answer is not in how many debates you won, how many times you were right online, how your assets compare to others, but in things simple, yet weighty, after 60 years. How you treat those weaker than you, how you forgive or learn to forgive, how you keep your dignity in hardship, how you don't give up on your health, even late. The distilling brain helps you see these lines more clearly. It's not so easily distracted. And so, in the gentle space of your bedroom, we arrive at a very small exercise, like a quiet agreement with your brain at this stage. Before sleep, instead of forcing yourself to remember all tomorrow's tasks, every name, every detail, allow yourself to ask a different question. Today, what shows that I lived closer to what I believe matters? It might be a call you finally made, an apology, a decision to see the doctor instead of ignoring symptoms, a time you listened to your grandchild without judging, or simply the time you gave to something that nourished your mind instead of scrolling mindlessly. When you lightly highlight these moments, you're telling your brain, this is what to keep. Distill this, night after night, If you keep treating yourself this way, you'll notice a very quiet peace, even if you forget some names. Have to look up passwords, sometimes walk into a room and forget why, but the essence in you, your clarity about what's right for you, about who you want to be in your remaining years grows steadier. You chase fewer stimuli. You stop before unnecessary battles. You say no more easily to what doesn't fit your strength. You value your time and presence more. That is not a worse brain. That is a brain that has learned the worth of each unit of attention. Tonight, before you let sleep carry you a little further away, give yourself a light but deep question. If your brain is now a master distiller, what do you want it to keep, instead of just trying to record more? That question doesn't need an immediate answer. Just let it sit there. Like a small seed, the rest leave it to the quiet wisdom of your age to answer slowly. In deep sleeps, in calm mornings, in everyday decisions. And maybe, at some point, you'll realize you have not worsened at all. You are, for the first time in a long time, living more faithfully to what truly matters. You see, the deeper we go into the journey of memory, the clearer a very quiet shift appears, from trying to hold on to everything to wanting only what's truly worth keeping. But concretely, what does this distilling in the middle-aged and older brain look like in your everyday life? Picture a quiet afternoon. You're sitting in your familiar chair, maybe an old armchair in the living room, a wooden chair on the porch, or a seat by the window looking out at the changing sky. Traffic noise has thinned, only a few scattered sounds remain. Today you forgot the name of a new TV host, fumbled with the Wi-Fi password, needed a few seconds to remember why you went upstairs. Those moments easily pinch the heart. Is my brain broken? But if you sit a little longer, paying closer attention, you'll notice something else happening in parallel. When your grandchild walks in with a sad face over something small, you know exactly how to ask, so they open up. When you hear someone bragging excessively, it takes only a few sentences for you to sense the emptiness inside them. When standing before a decision, you're no longer hasty. You can see the longer-term consequences that younger people rushing by can't yet see. That is your brain distilling. Scientifically, researchers distinguish between fluid intelligence and crystallized intelligence. Fluid intelligence is quick reaction, fast processing, memorizing new details. This often peaks in youth and then slows. Crystallized intelligence is accumulated understanding, pattern recognition, intuition, built from countless observations. This tends to keep increasing into midlife and only declines slowly if we maintain a rich mental life. When you hear a story and can summarize its essence in one concise sentence, when you can sense whether someone is trustworthy even though they speak impressively, when you're no longer pulled into every pointless argument, that is crystallized intelligence at work. The brain has moved away from being a camera toward being an editor. The subtlety is, if we don't understand this natural transition, we easily treat the slowing side as the enemy and ignore the deeper part that's growing. You may have told yourself, I'm not as capable as before, just because you don't use a smartphone as fast as your grandkids. But try asking the reverse. In the past 10 years, has your ability to see what truly matters in a day, a relationship, a crisis become deeper? Do you respond more calmly to the unexpected than when you were young? Are you still easily losing yourself over what others think? Or have you learned to stand quietly with what you believe is right? That is your brain's map shifting modes. At 45, 60, 80, the brain no longer wants to eat everything. It chooses sensational news, Inflammatory words, ego-triggering arguments can still stir you, but their pull doesn't last as long if you give yourself a moment of stillness. You know well that after each wave of noise, the one who pays the price isn't current events, but your blood pressure, your sleep, your heart. The brain has learned that lesson many times, so if you listen to it, you'll naturally reduce the urge to collect more noise. This is where distilling becomes a very special self-development opportunity for this phase of life. When young, we're swept into studying, working, proving, accumulating. Many decisions are made at high speed, under pressure, in noise. In midlife and older age, the brain offers us a hard-to-see gift, the need to purify. If we accept that gift, we begin asking questions we never had time to ask. What truly brings me peace? Who are the people I want to spend the rest of my time with? What values do I want the next generation to remember me for? Which habits no longer fit and only drain my strength? Biological slowing, if rightly understood, is not a slippery slope downward. It's an invitation. Run less in circles. Begin standing still at your own center. Detailed memory may no longer be as sharp, but memory for what matters can be clearer than ever if you cooperate with it. When a grandchild asks a seemingly simple question, "Grandpa, Grandma, what do you think is the most important thing in life?" Your answer now is worlds apart from your answer at 25. Not because you've read more books, but because so many years of collision have been compressed by your brain into a thin but concentrated layer of understanding. Of course, we don't romanticize everything. There are pathological memory declines like dementia, Alzheimer's, which must be recognized early and given proper medical care. If you or a loved one forget basic daily tasks, get lost in familiar places, don't recognize close family, that's a signal needing support. But outside that pathological zone, most of the small glitches you meet each day may be the flip side of an adaptive process. The brain no longer meticulously holds every unnecessary bit. It prioritizes the long road. With that understanding, each time you forget the name of a new TV show, instead of scolding yourself, "My brain is awful," you might smile and say, "Maybe my brain knows this doesn't matter to the larger story of my life." And in that same spirit, you can gently support your brain's role as distiller with a few simple habits. First, be more selective about what you feed your mind. Each day, treat your attention as a very limited resource. You don't need and cannot hold every news item, every argument. Prioritize what helps you understand life more deeply, connect better, nurture kindness, a thoughtful article, a meaningful scripture or passage, an honest conversation, a slow, touching film, a moment sitting quietly watching clouds through the window. All of these are clean ingredients for the distilling process. Second, give your brain time to settle. Don't fear silence. Don't fear evenings with fewer tasks. When it's not being force-fed stimuli, your experienced brain finally has space to connect, to draw those soft conclusions for you. Many say their most important realizations came while washing dishes, watering plants, walking slowly, not while straining to scroll one more newsfeed. That's when the brain is doing the teacher's work, threading, filtering, returning meaning. Third, use this distilling ability to treat yourself more kindly. When you see your life not as a set of scores to hit, but as a long story with countless rises and falls, you become less harsh. The midlife brain, if guided well, has the gift of placing mistakes in their proper size, not inflating everything as the young often do. You can see, Some things that once felt like the end of the world now, in hindsight, are just bends in the road. You survived, you learned, you went on loving. That is distilled wisdom. In the moment close to sleep, when only a tiny light remains in the room, let this question rest on the pillow with you. If my brain now prioritizes distilling meaning, am I helping it or still forcing it to collect trash? Each night, you can answer through very small choices. Scroll one less round of pointless arguments. Turn off the TV a few minutes earlier. Choose a gentle piece of music, a kind page of a book, or simply sit in quiet, hand on your chest, and say, "Today, I've taken one more step in the direction I believe is right." It may sound simple, but those moments of affirmation are the raw material the brain uses to engrave the outline of who you are becoming. And as such nights repeat, you'll see changes in very small but clear ways. You're no longer panicked over a few forgotten details. You're more sensitive to genuine moments, more patient with others, less eager to win every fight, more attentive to the feeling of calm after doing what you believe is right. Your mind stops being something that embarrasses you for not being quick enough and becomes a companion helping you live the rest of your life more fully. In the end, the lesson of the distilling brain for each of us, especially those listening between 45 and 90, is simple yet deep. You are no longer measured by how much you can hold, but by the quality of what you choose to keep. You no longer need to prove you know everything. You need only be faithful to the few things that have endured the test of time. You no longer have to run to avoid falling behind. You can stand steady and let the world rush past, choosing carefully what is worthy of being let into your mind. Tonight, as you close your eyes, treat it as a small ritual. Thank your brain for walking with you through every long stretch. Accept even its slowing, and softly ask, "Tomorrow, what do I want to live closer to that is truly important?" No need for a grand plan. Just hold that question in your heart. The rest, let the quiet wisdom distilled over the years guide you, step by steady step, along a path where you have not diminished at all. You have only become clearer about who you are. Once we begin to understand that the middle-aged and older brain is distilling instead of racing to accumulate, another natural question flickers up. Are the gaps, the places where we no longer remember clearly, always bad signs, or are they sometimes gifts the brain quietly offers us? If you're now lying in soft darkness, listening to these words like a friend whispering beside your bed, try to recall, how many times in your life have you scolded yourself for forgetting someone's name, forgetting why you walked into the kitchen, forgetting a detail of an old story, forgetting clearly the face of someone long gone? Each time, a quiet fear may have pricked your chest. I'm getting old. I'm not like before. Something's wrong with my brain. That worry is real. And in some cases, medical follow-up is truly important. But alongside that legitimate concern is a gentle truth. Neuroscience is clarifying, not remembering. Everything is not a system error. Most of the time, it's by design. The brain was not made to store every detail as an endless database. It was made to help us survive, understand, adapt. To do that, it must erase, filter, clear space for what is new and more important. If everything you see, every phone number you ever heard, every argument, every fright, every stranger's glance were etched in full and never faded, your mind would become a cramped house with no room for the present to walk. You wouldn't be able to focus, to sleep, to tell what demands a response and what can be let go. So forgetting, especially forgetting scattered details, is a biological gift that keeps us from burning out. In the brain, there are very specific mechanisms serving this. Neural connections that are not regularly used weaken, like a path no one walks gradually covered by grass, the trail disappearing. Details that no longer relate to the present are rarely recalled, rarely activated, so they naturally dim. Some memories, each time they're recalled and restored, are slightly edited edges, softened, weight reduced. Deep pains, if not necessary for survival, may over time be wrapped in a light mist, allowing us to move on without being stabbed by them daily. This is not a betrayal of the past, but a protection. Think of the losses you've endured. Maybe you lost someone very dear, went through major surgery, suffered financial collapse, a family crisis. In the early days, memories were sharp as shattered glass, touching any piece cut you. You remembered every detail: footsteps in the hospital corridor, numbers on the bill, the smell of the sheets, the doctor's eyes, every last sentence. If all those details stayed that sharp for 10, 20 years, how would your heart live? And yet, over time, some details blur. You still remember the person, the pain, but you're no longer knocked down every time the scene appears. You can tell the story without choking. That is the gift of selective forgetting. You still carry love, but are no longer imprisoned in the most painful moment. Strangely, we rarely thank this gift. Instead, we blame. Why can't I remember my mother's face as clearly as before? Why are the details of that day mixed up now? Does that mean I'm ungrateful? But look more closely. The brain doesn't erase those we love. It softens the picture so we can see them across the whole journey, not only in the final scene. It doesn't erase what we learned from the pain. It lets go of shards that would cut us again and again without purpose. It chooses to keep meaning, release some detail, very much like how the midlife brain distills everything else. Of course, there are types of forgetting that demand caution. Forgetting medication schedules, forgetting the way home, forgetting familiar skills, forgetting very close people. Those can signal medical issues, not gifts. We are not sugarcoating all forms of forgetting, but in the wide territory of not recalling an actor's name, not being sure whether it was 1986 or 1987, not retaining every word of an argument. Try allowing yourself another interpretation. Maybe the brain is saying, this no longer deserves a tight grip. This is especially important for self-accusatory memories. Many people in their 60 seconds, 70 seconds, 80 seconds lie down, and the film, What I Did Wrong, starts up. I wasn't good enough with my children. I said something that hurt someone. I chose wrong back then. Each replay feels like honesty, but often we're just repeating the same sentence, not giving the brain a chance to soften it. In that context, if some details begin to fade, you no longer remember how loud your voice was, or the exact phrasing. This might not be a flaw, but your mind-body trying to lessen the corrosive effect of that image. It's giving you a chance to retell the story with more dimensions, not just guilt, but also context, fear, limits, attempts to make amends. A question few people ask, and tonight we can ask gently, is, if some memories blur to protect us, can we learn to be grateful instead of panicking or scolding ourselves? Grateful not in the sense of celebrating forgetting, but in no longer using every lapse as a whip against our self-worth. It means looking at a blank patch and replacing "I'm terrible" with, maybe my brain has decided it doesn't need every detail anymore, and that's okay. You can try a small exercise right there in bed, in a few minutes before sleep. Think of an old memory that once hurt you deeply. Notice that now, you no longer recall every angle as sharply. Instead of panicking, in becoming confused, ask, what still remains in me from this? It might be a lesson about loving more gently, about boundaries, about the value of health, about saying sorry sooner. If the meaning remains while the blade has dulled, perhaps your brain has done its job well. Then you can whisper to yourself, thank you that I don't have to live forever inside the razor-edged version of that day. Selective forgetting also protects us from overload in a sea of information, especially for those in the US, bombarded daily with news, ads, data, updates. If the brain kept it all, we'd quickly collapse. Not remembering everything you saw on a screen yesterday is not failure, it's filtering. The brain is asking, does this affect my real life, my loved ones, my values? If the answer is no, it lets it fall away. Trouble comes when we scold ourselves. Why am I so bad? I forgot, right after reading, instead of feeling relieved. Good that my brain didn't store all that trash. Once we understand this gift, we can cooperate rather than resist, by not clinging to memories that only make us shrink, not locking ourselves in the torture chamber of every detail, by allowing some things to pass through without being archived, so there is space for what we want to keep, the faces of loved ones, good stories, understandings that help us live more kindly. Each night, as you prepare to sleep, you can gently ask, is there any memory, image, or remark from today I can allow to fade? Maybe it's a nasty comment online, a cold glance from a stranger, a small mistake you made. You acknowledge it happened, then deliberately don't hold on. That too is a way of honoring selective forgetting. And each night, you can ask the reverse. What do I want to keep clearer? That is often not a number, but a feeling. The feeling when someone truly listened to you, when you managed something hard, when your body, though tired, still carried you through the day. When you take a few seconds to feel those, you're pinning a note to them. Please don't erase. The brain will do its best to respond. At the end of tonight's story, what's worth carrying into sleep is not fear of every gap, but a new attitude, respecting both remembering and forgetting. Remembering to keep connection, meaning, what makes us who we are. Forgetting so we don't drown in details that paralyze life. Don't get locked forever into a single frame of grief or regret. Self-development between 45 and 90 is sometimes less about conquering more, and more about allowing ourselves to release what no longer serves, even some memories that once seemed enormous. Tonight, before your eyes fully close, try one slow breath and tell yourself a gentle sentence. If anything good in me has, with time, become less painful, that is not betrayal. That is continued life. And if someday you forget the name of a film, a presenter, or some detail that changes nothing, smile a little. Maybe your brain is tidying the house for you. What truly deserves to remain will not easily disappear. If some parts of memory are allowed to fade as a protective gift, then what parts quietly remain underneath, waiting for the tiniest cue to awaken? What makes a single scent, sound, or passing melody pull us back into an entire era? If you're now lying in your familiar room, with soft yellow lamplight, the window slightly ajar, maybe outside is the quiet of a small town night, or the distant glow of an American city that never fully sleeps. Let yourself listen to your body for a moment, not to memory as you usually think of it, but to memories that don't live fully in words. The smell of the pillow you've used for years, the feel of the blanket over knees that ache a little, the soft creak of the window frame when wind slips through, the very faint music you play every night. or the neighbor's TV murmuring through the wall. These things that seem too trivial to notice are keys to another archive: sensory memory. Science calls this cue-based or sensory-evoked memory. A smell can link directly to emotional and memory regions faster than when we deliberately try to think of something. An old song can pull you back into a car in 1975, a kitchen in 1982, the tiny apartment when you first married, so vividly you almost smell the wood, the rain, the shirt of the one you loved. A door sound, a kind of light, the feeling of slippers underfoot, all can act as shortcuts back to deeply imprinted experiences. Especially for someone who has lived many decades, this vault is rich. We just rarely name it. You've likely felt this clearly. One day, out of nowhere, you walk into a small bakery, and the smell of butter and cinnamon suddenly brings tears to your eyes, not because something bad happened that day, but because it touched the scent of your mother's or grandmother's kitchen in a distant home. Or one night, you hear an old song on the radio, can't recall the singer, but your heart tightens like it did when you stood in your high school yard after a dance. These memories may not be ones you recite in detail daily, but your body and senses have kept a copy. At 45, 60, 80, when deliberate memory is sometimes shaky, this sensory archive is all the more precious. It reminds you you're not empty. You carry many layers of time in every cell. A bar of soap's smell, a certain perfume, the screech of a train, a ship horn, cicadas in summer. All are evidence that your life is longer than what you can still tell smoothly. Knowing this, you can start using this very mechanism to care for yourself, especially in the hour before sleep. Instead of letting evening be just a free fall into exhaustion, you can create a simple night ritual that uses sensory memory as anchors of peace. A desk lamp with a consistent glow, switched on at around the same time each night. A recurring, gentle melody, soft enough for the brain to recognize. This is when we shift from vigilance to rest. A familiar scent, chamomile tea, wood, your usual hand cream, or simply the smell of clean bedding. A touch habit, lightly stroking the back of your own hand, placing your palm on your chest for a few slow breaths. Those repeated signals get tagged by the brain as safe. Like when, as a child, just hearing your parents' door or smelling dinner told you weren't alone. Neurologically, these repeated rituals link the present to earlier experiences that carried a sense of being protected. When you choose music that recalls a time you still held much hope, or a scent that evokes peace, you activate the brain's safety networks, helping the nervous system lower its guard, slow down, better prepare for deep sleep. Instead of bombarding it with signals of threat news, harsh light, jarring noise, you offer another set. Cues that say, you're allowed to rest. The wonderful thing is, this night ritual need not be complicated or expensive. Many older viewers likely already have half of it without realizing. The regular chair for the evening news, the nightly tea, the old bedside lamp, the radio, the cross or book by the bed. The only question is, are we using them to connect with a sense of safety, or letting our minds keep being dragged by worry? With a bit more intention, we can ask, what I hear, see, and smell before sleep, what story is it telling my brain? A story of danger and exhaustion, or a story of home and peace? You can imagine an ideal evening ritual for yourself, wherever you are in the U.S. It could be a high-rise apartment in New York, a small house in Texas, a mobile home in the suburbs, a wooden cabin near the woods. First step, turn down the sounds that slam into your nerves. Shouting TV shows, loud news, online arguments. Next, choose 1 or 2 sensory cues as your signature of safety. An old jazz track, soft piano, a hymn, an instrumental playlist you've loved for years, a scent of tea, a drop of essential oil, or simply opening the window a few minutes to breathe in the night air. A light that's not too white, not too harsh. Then, in that space, let the body do the rest. Let your feet feel the floor, your hand touch a book cover, your back sink into the familiar mattress. These sensations, repeated, will be stored as the context of when I am safe. Night after night, they gradually link today with past safe moments. Old kitchens, cheap but hopeful rooms of youth, evenings when children were small, the sound of spoons on plates, a loved one switching off the light. The hidden archive is invited in, not left to appear randomly. For many older people, the body also carries memory differently. Aches, scars, new limits. At night, those memories speak through soreness and discomfort. A sensory night ritual can't erase them, but can balance them. A warm compress in the right place, a gentle rub on the knee, warm socks, a support pillow. These are ways of saying to the body, I see you. I'm not abandoning you. When the body senses care, the brain has less need to sound the alarm. And among signals of pain, a few pleasant ones slip in. Warmth, support, steady breaths. From a self-development view, using the sensory archive for your night ritual is a very mature act. You're not passively waiting for bad memories to ambush you. You're actively preparing a stage for better ones. You invite the safe parts of your life to sit by your bed through scent, sound, light, instead of inviting only headlines and fears. You tell your brain, in a wordless language, I choose to link today with a feeling of being held, not hunted. One last thought. This hidden archive is always there, even when we're unaware. A song your grandchild plays, a food smell, a type of weather can accidentally awaken regions of memory you thought were gone. Sometimes it's a sweet surprise. Sometimes it brings old sadness. Our only real agency is to choose, in clearer moments, a few keys we want to use every day. In doing so, we're no longer entirely at the mercy of whatever memory throws at us in the night. Tonight, as you get ready to sleep, try one tiny thing. Dim the lights. Choose one sound, one scent, one feeling of touch that, to you, says this is home. Notice it for a few slow breaths. Think of it as turning the key that opens a door into a part of your brain where warmer memories live. Where you are not just today's tired person, but someone who has lived long and still knows how to create peace for yourself. Then let your body and hidden archive do the rest. And before your eyes fully close, you might gently ask, tomorrow, what signals do I want to become the scent of my life? The smell of panic, or the smell of simple but safe things? Your answer, repeated through each nightly ritual, will gradually shape not only your sleep, but the face memory turns toward you in the years to come. If scent, sound, and light can open doors to hidden memories and bring us back to safe places, is there something we can do a bit more deliberately? There is one very small act, needing only a few minutes before sleep, but if repeated long enough, it can quietly reshape our inner map. Now, let your body rest in the most comfortable position it can find. Soften your shoulders a little. Loosen your jaw. Let your hands be not clenched. If there is light, imagine it dimming one more notch. Outside, night still belongs to a busy country, but inside this room, you grant yourself a small partition, just enough for you and your breath. In that small space, well, try something so simple many people overlook, choosing one good memory to stay with us before we drift into sleep. Choosing one good memory does not mean forcing yourself to think of grand, brilliant, perfect things. Quite the opposite. Gentle, warm, but not overly intense. Memories are often better for sleep. A firm, quiet hand holding yours in the hospital when you knew you weren't alone. A very ordinary afternoon, sunlight filtering through the kitchen window, smell of hot soup, the sound of a loved one opening the fridge, a time you got through pain and walked out of the clinic feeling, "At least today I faced it." A day you finally signed difficult papers, resolved a tangled matter, felt you had protected someone. Or simply the moment a grandchild ran in from the door and hugged you around the waist for no reason at all. Neuroscience tells us, each time we recall a memory with attention and feeling, the neural network holding that memory is activated and reconsolidated. If we unconsciously let our minds wander every night to scenes of lack, failure, hurt, we're training the brain to treat those as the main map, the default story of our life. Conversely, if we intentionally, not pretending, but truly choosing each night to name one good moment, however small, and allow ourselves to dwell with it for a minute or two, we're quietly sending the brain a new instruction. This is important material too. Please keep this. Try it now, no ceremony needed. Pick any day in your life. It doesn't have to be the best day. Just a frame that softens your heart when you touch it. It might be an image of your younger self standing in your first rented apartment, old furniture, uncertain future, but with a certain determination in your eyes. It might be the evening after a family argument, when someone awkwardly placed a plate of fruit on the table as a peace offering. It might be a winter morning when you opened the door to find snow everywhere, and the notice, "School closed," as if the whole neighborhood was given permission to rest. You heard laughter somewhere, and your whole body exhaled. It might be anything that, when recalled, doesn't judge you but brings a bit of warmth, a bit of gratitude. When that frame appears, let yourself stay with it for a few more seconds. Notice the colors, the light, the smells, the sounds. Are you standing or sitting? Was your heart beating fast or slow? Was there a face beside you? Don't analyze, just observe, as if you were gently touching an old photograph. Then let a very small sentence pass through your mind. This moment deserves to be remembered. No need to press it. No need to repeat it until you're tired. Once is enough. What is happening at a deeper level is this. Your hippocampus, your memory center, receives a very clear, very courteous signal that there is a positive file that needs to be stamped. The amygdala, the place that processes emotion, registers that this memory comes with a warm, calm, non-threatening feeling. Your brain, which is always having to decide what to keep and what to release, suddenly has one more reason to make room for memories like this. If you repeat this ritual every night with different moments, after a few weeks, a few months, the network of your positive memories will no longer be scattered dots, but will begin to connect into lines, from lines into a map. That map does not erase the dark areas. It does not paint over loss, illness, loneliness, regret in pink, but it does something fair. It places those things alongside clear evidence that your life has not been only lack. You have loved, been loved, endured, learned, given, stood back up more times than you remember. When your inner map contains both, your mind is less inclined to tell a one-sided story. I am only a failure. I have missed everything. There is nothing good in my life. Instead, it can gently whisper a more truthful, more compassionate version. I have gone through many hard things, but I have also had things worth keeping. Some people may think, but what can 1-2 minutes do? I've lived my whole life with painful memories. The answer, under the light of neuroscience, is modest yet steadfast. The brain changes by accumulating small things. Neural pathways are formed and strengthened not by one big shouted slogan, but by footsteps taken over and over, day after day. Each night, you choose one good memory is one step. 10 nights, 10 steps. 100 nights, a path. You don't have to believe in miracles right away. Just allow yourself to try, as an act of kindness towards yourself. What matters is, the good memory you choose does not have to be perfect, and does not have to blot out all darkness. Sometimes, the memory you choose appears right in the middle of something very hard. A plastic chair in a hospital where someone held your hand while you waited for test results. A phone call bringing bad news but given in a very gentle voice. A financially difficult day when the whole family still sat and ate together and somehow managed to laugh. When we choose to keep the small lights inside the dark, we are not pretending everything is fine. We are acknowledging that even in suffering, there were signs of connection. Endurance. That is the most delicate material from which to build a full inner map. At 45, 60, 90, this exercise has another benefit. It returns to you a bit of agency in a territory many assume is only passive. Old age is often described in the language of loss. Loss of strength, loss of people, loss of role, loss of memory. Choosing one good memory every night is how you quietly say to yourself, I still have the right to decide what is highlighted in the story of my life. No one can take that from you. No lab result, no hospital bill, no brief lapse can strip away your ability to choose in those 2 minutes before sleep. Of course, there will be nights when you don't want to choose. Nights when you are too tired, too sad, and just want to close your eyes and be done. That's okay too. This exercise is not an obligation. It is a gift you can offer yourself when you have the strength. But if you can, try not to abandon it just because you think it's too small. It won't matter. Sometimes, it is exactly the small, steady things that push back against the feeling that life is empty. Because each time you choose, you are reminding your brain, you still see, still register, still value what is good even on an imperfect day. To make this easier, you can create for yourself a shelf of good memories. Write in your imagination. Each night, once you've chosen your moment of the day, imagine placing it on a small shelf on the wall of your mind. You don't need to see faces clearly. It's enough to know this is where I keep the things that remind me I have not only survived, but lived with meaning. At some point, when grey days return, you can, in your imagination, glance at that shelf and know you have a warm reserve to counter the voice that says, there's nothing worth remembering. And then, as in every night of this story, we return to a question. Tonight, before you sleep, if you could carry only one memory with you as the backdrop for your dreams and your tomorrow morning, which one would you choose? Not the memory that proves you are perfect, but the one that proves that at some point you were kind, or brave, or loving, or simply sincerely present. Are you willing to give that memory an honored seat in your mind, instead of continuing to let all the beautiful spaces be occupied by self-blaming images? The answer doesn't need to be spoken aloud. It's enough that you spend 1 or 2 minutes seeing that moment more clearly, a little more warmly, then gently let yourself drift into sleep. The rest, leave to your brain with all the wisdom it has accumulated over the years to do its work, quietly redrawing the map bit by bit, according to what you have courageously chosen to keep. And once we have trained the brain to notice one warm memory each night, like lighting a small lamp in the room of our memories, the next question naturally arises. What about the stubborn shadows? Those tapes that replay every night and make us curl in on ourselves, do they really have to be held so tightly? Here we step into the most delicate part of this whole journey. Lightly drifting memories. The art of letting go of the right things. Not letting go at random. Not hypnotizing ourselves into believing nothing ever happened. Not denying mistakes or pain, but releasing those fragments that are replayed in ways that make us cruel to ourselves. Those tapes that no longer bring new understanding, only make us shrink, lose sleep, suffocate. At any age there are such tapes, but between 45 and 90, when night becomes the quiet space where it's easiest to face ourselves, the question, what do I still have to carry, becomes especially important. The first thing we need to say plainly to one another, in this gentle evening air, is, we cannot fully control what we remember or forget. Some memories surface whether we invite them or not. A cruel sentence from decades ago, a careless mistake we made, the last image of a loved one in a hospital bed, a decision we always think if only. Saying don't think about it usually only makes it come back stronger. The brain does not have a simple delete button, but it has another, subtler ability. If we stop feeding a certain memory, it can fade. Its edges can soften. If we stop using it as a whip, the neural path sustaining it will gradually wear down. Neuroscience shows that every time we repeat a thought, an image, a story in the same way, we strengthen the neural connections involved. Rumination, chewing pain over and over, is like walking the same trail again and again. Each step makes the path clearer, deeper. Conversely, when we stop walking that path so often and give ourselves other directions, those neurons still exist, but they're no longer reinforced daily. They may not vanish entirely, but their weight in the brain's map lessens. The art of letting go of the right things is precisely the art of choosing. Tonight, do I continue walking down that self-torturing path? Imagine each painful memory as a small tape. Some tapes must be kept. Lessons about not driving drunk, about early signs that mean go see a doctor, about how not to repeat a dangerous mistake. Those are protective memories, but next to them are tapes with only one script. You're terrible, you're useless, you ruined other people's lives, you missed the one chance. These tapes no longer tell us what to correct because the event is over. The people are gone, the context has changed. They only play to condemn. And every time we let them occupy all the moments before sleep, we're sending the brain a message. This is important data. Please carve it deeper. The art of letting go of the right things is not slicing the tape in half, but changing our stance when it appears. Tonight, if an old image rises, for example, the scene of you shouting at your child years ago, instead of instantly diving into the old script. I am a terrible parent, unforgivable. Pause for a beat. Take a deeper breath. Ask a different question. What have I understood from this? How did I treat my child afterward? Do I still act this way now? If the answer is that you apologized or changed, or that today you know you would do it differently, then notice that memory has already fulfilled part of its function. It has taught you The rest, the endless beating of yourself, is excess. And that excess can be allowed to drift light. To allow it to drift light is an important phrase. It is different from forcing yourself to forget. It is an inner choice. I will no longer deliberately clutch this memory every night as a ritual of self-punishment. When it appears, I see it, I acknowledge it, but I do not set it as the wallpaper of my sleep. I can murmur, I was wrong, I have learned, and now I need to rest. That sentence doesn't erase the memory, but it cuts off the current that powers it, turns down its supply. You can begin practicing this art with 2 small questions, just as you suggested in your prompt, asked on your pillow before you close your eyes. The first, which memory today do I allow to drift light? It might be the annoyed look from a stranger at the supermarket, a curt word from someone who was simply tired, a small mistake you made in the kitchen, a news item that frightened you but lies beyond your control. Choose one thing, just one is enough, and intentionally don't clutch it. You might imagine placing it on a table and letting the night's water carry it away. Not denial, but refusing to add more fuel. The second, which memory today do I want to keep as a gift for a gentler version of myself? That might be a tiny thank you someone gave you. The feeling of cool air on your face when you opened the door. A moment you held back your anger. A time you said no to something beyond your strength. A medical result better than you feared. A grandchild's smile. Or simply the fact that, despite your fatigue, you chose to listen this far to face yourself more kindly. Let that memory stay a few seconds longer. That is the gift you send to tomorrow's you. From the brain's perspective, those 2 questions are 2 very distinct commands. The one you let drift light is less likely to be replayed right before sleep, the time when the brain consolidates memory most strongly. The one you choose to keep is highlighted just enough for the hippocampus to notice, for the amygdala to stick on a warm label. With enough repetition, you don't just feel different. You're literally adjusting the density of neural connections between clusters of memory. The networks tied to self-contempt and self-condemnation are no longer fertilized each night. The networks tied to gratitude, worthiness, connection, resilience start to take deeper root. And please remember, this is not a privilege of the young. The brain can still change at 60, 70, 80. Slower, needing more patience. But still, if for many years you were taught only to see your flaws, to prize only harsh memories, then learning this art of letting go of the right things now may be one of the most profound gifts you give yourself in the years ahead. Some may ask, if I let go, am I being irresponsible with the past? Will I forget the person I hurt? That is a very kind question. The answer: this art does not ask you to forget responsibility, only to stop endlessly replaying the sentence after you've acknowledged and learned. If you have apologized, have changed, or if the person is no longer here, and you have chosen to live your remaining life more kindly because of that memory, then continuing to beat yourself does not resurrect anyone, does not spare anyone more pain. It only harms one more person, you. Letting go of the right things respects the value of pain as a lesson, but refuses to turn it into a life sentence. Others will say, I don't have many good memories to keep. When I look back, I only see disappointment. If that's you, then this art is especially for you. Because perhaps the issue is not that your life lacks goodness, but that your lens has long pointed only one way. The exercise of choosing one good memory each night, paired with the letting go of one constricting memory, is precisely how you slowly turn the lens. You are not inventing beauty. You are retrieving small, true pieces, that have been drowned out by the noise of accusation. And believe me, at this age, if you still wrestle with right and wrong, still worry, you may have hurt someone. That very struggle is proof your heart is far from numb, far from what you fear. By now, we can look back on the whole journey like one long breath. We've spoken about the hippocampus as the night librarian, deep sleep as soil where memory takes root, emotion as priority stamps, the midlife brain as a distiller of meaning, the gift of selective forgetting, the quiet sensory archive, and the ritual of choosing one good memory each night. All these pieces lead us to the gentlest conclusion. Lightly drifting memories is not abandoning your life story. It is letting your life breathe. You've traveled a long road to reach tonight, through cities and small towns, through winters and summers, through hospitals and weddings, through moves and job changes, through late night calls. Among all of that, there are memories that deserve to stay as markers. Times you chose kindness over bitterness, stood up instead of giving up, loved again after breaking, dared to learn something new even when you felt slow. And there are memories that can begin to be allowed to drift light. The self-mocking phrases, the images that now serve only to wound, the ways you measure yourself against standards no one could survive. Tonight, before your eyes truly close, allow yourself this small ritual only in your heart. No need to say it aloud. Inhale, exhale slowly. Ask, which memory from today or from long ago can I set down a little? Not erase, just not clutch against my chest anymore. Let one image appear. Nod gently. Picture it as a leaf leaving your hand, floating out of your grip. Then ask, which memory do I choose to keep tonight, as a gift for a gentler version of myself? Let another image come closer. Invite it to sit by your bed, like a kind friend, and then let sleep come in its own way. If one day someone asks you for your secret to feeling lighter in your heart, even at an old age, you may not need to answer with long theories. You can simply say, every night, I practice letting go of the right things and keeping the right things. I no longer let the cruel tapes have all the space. I let some memories drift light when they've done their job. And I keep near the ones that remind me I still know how to love, to learn, to go on. And after saying that, you may smile, and your brain, the loyal old friend that works even while you sleep, will quietly go on rearranging things for you, based on those very small, very brave choices you've just made. You can close your eyes now and let your thoughts dissolve like mist. If your mind still wants to wander, let it continue its journey to the next video, where we'll go deeper into the mysteries of the soul. And if your body is tired, just let this sound lull you into sleep. No effort needed, just breathe and remember, everything you are looking for is already resting quietly within you.